Khabib came out and said, Justin, I'll stick with my opinion. You had a chance and you missed it. But I do agree that promotion is more interested in you at the moment. Still, you can't ignore 9-fight absolutely dominant win streak in UFC. Anyone who has 9 victories in a row deserves a title fight. Doesn't matter who it is, Islam or someone else. Ask any fighter in a roster and they will tell you that 9-fight winning streak is enough to fight for a title. And then Justin comes back and says, Your boy has 2 and you want him to fight for the belt. My 3 losses are former champ, interim champ, and current champ. Islam beat number 14 and a late replacement, number 6. Stay humble, champ. Get in line. Don't forget, Benil is sitting right in front of you.
What does he mean 2? Your boy has 2. Makhachev has 1 loss.
2 top 15 fights because he says he fought number 14, he fought number 6 in a last minute replacement.
Yeah, they got into this.
Here's the big problem with that. And Josh, you can talk about this. That's not Makhachev's fault. No one wants to fight him. All right.
Well, Islam came out and said that after. He came out and said he sent a tweet after all that.
And all of this stuff, first off, none of this matters. And if you're gonna say, the 9-fight win streak, you're right. Ask Leon Edwards. Okay, what's he on a 10-fight win streak, right?
John Fitch.
So those things happen where guys that are on these long win streaks. Take a look at Tony Ferguson. What was his win streak? 12?
12 or 13.
12 or 13, somewhere in there. So, you have to be that person that, I look at when we talked about the Chandler Gaethje fight, it was, hey, if it's a snoozer, they're going to bump Islam ahead of Justin or Mike. If Mike and Justin have a great fight, guess what? Islam's going to wait. And I think that's what's going to happen. And there's nothing, it doesn't matter what Khabib puts out on a tweet or Justin puts out on a tweet. This is about people right now as fans. They identify and they believe and want to see Justin Gaethje more than they want to see Islam Makhachev right now. It's just that's the way it is.
I don't know
it's true.
About that.
It's true. Okay, for how long? I want you to think about for how long.
John, you don't have to yell.
I'm not yelling.
I'm like right here.
For how long did Khabib, fight in the UFC and was kept wanting that shot, and people for a while they didn't care about him. They were like, and then finally, boom, he caught on, and they clamored for him. And right now, Islam is almost in that same path that Khabib had, as far as people know he's good, but they don't clamor for him like they clamor for Gaethje. He's called the human highlight reel, and people will look and think that he's going to perform and have a more entertaining fight than Islam right at this moment. I honestly think that's the truth.
No, I can agree with that, but I also believe that you don't take someone with a support. Okay, when I'm talking about pay-per-view buys, and if I'm on promotion, who's going to sell more pay-per-view buys? Islam Makhachev is going to sell more pay-per-view buys. And maybe people are looking at me going like, I agree. Justin Gaethje is the highlight reel, walking highlight reel. Okay, but when it comes down to the amount of people, when it comes to the support from other countries, not just in the U.S., who's going to
pay-per-view doesn't go to a lot of other countries.
It doesn't go to a lot of other countries, but there's a lot of Russians and Muslims that live in the U.S., Canada.
Okay.
And they will buy, and they will buy. They will support. They will support, and they will support because he's also not just because he's Muslim and because he's Russian, but because he's Khabib's boy. Yeah. They will do it because that they've already followed Khabib, and now they want to see who's number 2, who's the next guy that Khabib's. And now Khabib's the coach. They're following all this. They're following it step by step, and that's going to be what sells. Now, I have nothing against Justin Gaethje, and I could care less. To be honest, I actually understand why they're pushing Justin. I think I'm going to agree with you a little bit. I think Islam does need one more fight, only because once he gets there, he'll have cleared out the division. Then, I think if he beats Benil, and then let's just say who else would he fight? He's not ahead of He's number 4. Benil's number 3. Who's number 2? Justin is, and then Dustin Poirier is number 1, and then the champion.
The champ.
Like if he beats Benil, then there's no one else left in front of him, and I think after that, he's gonna have a hard time. I think the guy he's gonna have a hard time with is going to be Dustin Poirier. He'll have a hard time with him a little bit, but he's not gonna have a hard time taking him down. He's gonna have a hard time finishing him because he's tough, a dog. But I think overall strength and stuff with Charles Oliveira, he's going to be able to handle him. He's going to have to be concerned about the submissions. But like I said, Khabib was the guy that in the room, if you were to say would get caught in a submission, would be him over Islam. Islam on the ground is really crafty, really sneaky good. So, and I'm not trying to I think when I talk about the Khabib and the Islam thing in comparison, you guys, they're both really good, and I just want people to understand like how they're different though when you start breaking it down by the techniques. And but overall, I could care less. I actually would like him to get one more fight before he fights for the title because I know once he does that, there's no one else in front of him. It's just straight to the title, and then he'll be champion for however long he chooses to fight. There might be an up and comer that comes in and threatens a little bit, but I don't see somebody else beating him. I think the game plan of how to beat Dustin Poirier was laid out by Khabib. I think Islam follows it to the T. I think Oliveira will be a little bit more difficult because none of them have fought Oliveira. Khabib didn't fight him. None of the other Dagestan fighters have fought him. So that might be a little bit tougher. But the submission threat will be for real there. The stand-up is a little trickier because of the push kick and the style of which he does his stand-up. He's slick. But he's also someone that when you touch him, he doesn't take damage as well. Like he's got a good chin, but not a great chin, Charles Oliveira. But in that conversation, to go back to what we were talking about, Sean, I got off track, obviously, when I started talking about the guys. But to get back on track, it's not his fault. No. It's not his fault because fighters didn't want to fight him. It took him forever to get someone to fight him in the top 10. And then that's why the UFC was pushing him so much. No one wants to fight him. That's that. Now, Justin Gaethje, it's not his fault either because Islam has a big support and following, and it's not his fault, but he's coming off of a great performance that he worked hard to get against Michael Chandler. It's flip a coin. It really is to me, honestly. I understand where Khabib's coming from and backing him up. Eddie Alvarez, I don't know if you can pull. Did I send you that tweet also?
Yeah. So I was actually looking for a place to throw this in because this did add to the mix. So
because he also added in the stuff about Justin Gaethje getting the shot.
So Eddie comes out and says, I respect Khabib, but giving Justin Gaethje a shot over Islam is only right. Islam fought one ranked opponent to stay 9-0. Justin fought 4 champions and a legend in DC to be 6-3. Only one road.
Donald Cerrone.
Only one road was more honest and true. Truth always wins. I'd rather be 6-3. Khabib replies and says, Eddie, just imagine you're 7 years undefeated in UFC and have 9-fight win streak. What would you do? Ask for a title fight or vote for Justin Gaethje to fight for a title who just lost inside 2 rounds for a title a year ago? And then Eddie replies and says, that loss was to you, brother. This is a different loss than losing to a normal opponent. When you take crazy risk and fight the absolute best back-to-back, you will always be rewarded for those risks. More risk, more reward. Islam is the future, but not enough risk.
Yeah, so that's not his fault, though. Like, Islam commented on that tweet as well. I said something in there because he was talking. Eddie had also did another tweet that I had sent you, and it said something about, like, the MMA is the most pure sport right now because we don't want to turn it into boxing. Yeah, what was it?
So Eddie comes out and says right after, not like within about 20 minutes of that, says, this sport is not boxing and I hope it never becomes boxing. An undefeated record is as good as the opposition faced. I'd rather have a true and honest 500 record than a questionable flawless one. MMA is the last honest sport we have left. Keep it that way.
And so I commented down below. I said, I couldn't agree with you more, blah, blah. Everyone thought I was taking a dig at Islam. And I'm like, why the fuck? Like, that's the thing. Why would I take a dig at somebody I know and like? Because I didn't read his first tweet. So I actually went back and deleted the tweet. I was like, no, I'm not getting in the mix of all this bullshit. I thought he was, because, with boxing coming in and MMA coming in, I was like, I'm not trying to get in the middle of all of this shit. So I deleted my tweet. But it really comes out because what he said in that portion of it was true. Boxing, like guys like Julio Cesar Chavez had 50 fights until he fought somebody that had a winning record. It was senior. Julio Cesar Chavez. Not junior. Yeah, the dad.
The original.
The original. He had 50-something fights before he fought someone really with a winning record. There was a
winning record. he didn't fight anybody that was great, but there was guys
No.
in there that had winning records.
Yeah, not many of them. but that's the style of boxing, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
when you look at fighters, when you look at boxers, their records are padded.
The blueprint for boxing is, we want to get them to 20-0.
Mm-hmm.
That's the blueprint of promoters and managers, because that's what they can sell to the networks and the Showtimes and those, entities out there. And you're right. They feed them cans, and it's not good. And I totally like what Eddie said, and I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
And but if you're, in this situation, I don't care who you go with. If you go with Justin, you're going with a freaking monster who's fun to watch, who is a great fighter. If you go with Islam, you're going with a fucking monster who I think is fun to watch and, deserves the shot too. So this is where, if you're the UFC, congratulations, you're in a great spot, because you could take either guy and put him there. And then the other guy's going to have to wait, but he's going to seethe a little bit. And it's okay. Go ahead and seethe a little bit. If you want to fight, I'll give you a fight. Or if you want to wait to face the winner of this one, I'll let that happen. But they're in a good spot, because they have, at this time, in the 155-pound division, their top 6, 7, 8, they're good.
Yeah.
They're good. And they can interplay them all. And depending upon who they match up, it's a hard fight, for one guy over the other. But the whole thing with, Islam and Justin, I kind of like that they're both, going after saying, hey, I want that spot.